Hello, hello.
Hi.
Oh, you're all nice. You're cooking.
Yeah, girl, I'm making some Christmas cookies.
Gee, and I'm in the bedroom hiding from the babies who were crying a second ago.
How'd you get a nice background like that?
Hey, so I did it when I immediately came in, but if you go to your camera, it'll ask you backgrounds and it'll show you all the options.
Okay, I kind of like the idea of me baking during this one, though.
I mean, it works. It works. Today's about gratitude, right?
For sure, for sure.
Alright.
Otherwise, I can stop. I got about 5 minutes until I'm ready to plop these in the oven.
Whatever works. If you want, I can start reading this and then we can hop back to an actual discussion after you're done doing what are you making right now?
Spritz cookies.
Spritz cookies. I love cookies.
Dude,
I'm jealous.
Spritz cookies are so good.
We did a what was it? What's it called when you do the gifts but you don't know who it's from? You just pick numbers.
White elephant?
Yeah, we did that at the army last weekend. I gave someone the cookies, as you know. Cookies and coffee. It ended up being like an 11-year-old. Like, that coffee's not for an 11-year-old.
Did not know 11-year-olds were there. You should have stuck with the $20 and the kale.
I should have, but someone else came up with the exact same idea, except no kale. So even better.
$20?
Yeah. I was like, oh, it was family. It was someone's family member. They gave theirs off to the 11-year-old. Originally, he picked up the bottle of wine. So I was like, all right, I'm going to swoop in here because I was right after him. So I was like, all right, I'm going to take the bottle of wine. You have my number now. You can go pick another one. And of course, he picked mine, which was the only other not age-appropriate gift up there. I was like, what are the chances? I'm sorry. I know.
Dude, I'm sure he's fine. He was 11.
He had
understands.
Cookies. It's good. He might have even been 10. I'm not too sure.
Kids understand that.
So this is one of Dad's passages. It's called Gratitude List, ... and Constructivism. I am. You see the little red? Little red means it's recording.
I seen it now.
Oh,
all right, continue, please.
All right, so gratitude, lots of exclamation points. What a liberating concept. When expressed, we find the glass is half full. In fact, the glass is overrunning because one has found the constantly flowing spigot. Have you found it? I have. But must confess, sometimes I forget where it is and where the water comes from. When this happens, all I need to do is get back to the faucet and bask in the rejuvenating flow. The water in the stream is pure. The flow is with as high a pressure as I can endure. The volume is so abundant, I have more than enough to share with others. Its limitations are not intrinsic, but rather depend on how open the user conceptualizes those limitations, or lack thereof, at any given time. Very dad thing to say.
Very dad thing to say. I especially like the part where he's like, I got enough for all y'all.
Yeah, like you don't even need your own gratitude.
Yes. And like to kind of go off that, I feel like he was someone that didn't have much gratitude to start off with. So this wasn't something he just did like overnight, which he kind of, metaphorically mentioned in the beginning of it. It's something that he built up to, and I mean, Thanksgiving's right around the corner, so we've got a bunch to be thankful for.
Oh my god, we definitely do. I actually have a whole list I started, if you don't mind me annoying everyone with it.
Oh, you got this.
I got a whole list, man. What I am grateful for, that's what I called it. Okay, yeah. Perseverance, independence, that was huge. I went through this whole thing when I was a teenager, sort of finding my own independence, because I really didn't have it as a kid. I was kind of scared to have it. And I think that kind of came from both my parents, our parents, sorry, the way they raised us. It was so different, and I just couldn't find a balance in between the two. So I just felt so like stuck in the middle that I didn't know what to do with myself. And when I eventually turned like 17, 16 maybe, I decided to do something about it and figure out what I was all about. So my dad helped me a lot with that. Trust, the ability to be open and honest with others. Forgiveness, that one's huge, coming into play a lot recently. Gratitude, you can't defeat a grateful person. That's huge. That's what this is all about, really. Thanksgiving, every Thanksgiving, we had to go around the table and say, what are you thankful for? What are you grateful for? The difference between being smart and wise, I do appreciate knowing the difference. I'm very grateful for that. I would never have in a million years come up with that myself. And so I think it's crazy that this man not only thought of it, but actually found a way to define it, like use words to explain the difference. I think that's amazing. To always move forward and never settle for anything. There's always something greater that's ahead of you, and you can achieve it if you push yourself to reach it. How to brush off shame. Pretty big on that. It's not easy, especially when you're ashamed of yourself. So having a few passages about that, Dad really helped me. I've reread those a couple times now. The difference between envy and jealousy and why it matters. Only reason I know the difference is because of Dad. I don't know about you.
I've had to tell so many people the difference. Also with empathy and sympathy. I'm
Exactly.
like, listen here. I know.
Exactly. I did not know. And he had to keep telling me. Because every time he'd be like, do you know the difference? I was like, did I just misuse the word again? Yes. I see how it is. There is a difference. If you're going to read his book, he explains it very well. I'm not going to try to explain it because I would. Maybe you could have another episode.
Another episode.
We'll do a whole episode about it, and I'll show you how confused I am and how I've come from that confusion to understanding the difference and appreciating the difference, because if you don't know the difference, it's pretty significant. Like envy and jealousy, I feel like, oh, I'm envious, but then I'm like, wait, Dad's explanation of that, no, I'm not, actually. Envy is really terrible.
Envy's terrible. That's why it's one of the 7 deadly sins. He always said that. He's like, that's why it's one of the 7 deadly sins, and jealousy isn't.
Exactly. Another time. I'll just finish off my list real quick. There will always be reruns in life, and when you recognize them, you can push past them and get to the next stage or the next step in life. There are also going to be relapses, and you have to be able to accept that and get over it. That's pretty big. I think a lot of people don't understand that. They like have a relapse, like maybe they're trying to quit alcohol or drugs or whatever, and then they have a relapse and they're like, oh, well, there's no point anymore. Well, no, you're going to have reruns. You're going to have those moments over and over again. Maybe you don't even actually relapse, but you have thoughts about it, and you have to be able to accept those thoughts and recognize that you're only human and you can get past it. I also figured out what a healthy relationship looks like because of my dad. What it feels like to be loved and supported. He supported me through everything. I told you guys that, episode 1. He supported me literally everything. The difference between being listened to and being heard. Very big difference. We also talked about that, episode 1. And constructivism, being able to find common ground with people versus focusing on everyone's differences. That's also something not a lot of people know how to do.
I've been really taking that to heart with my job, going around and talking to, everybody. I can't wait to have one of those necklaces, yo.
I have it. It's sitting right there.
Can't wait
just wear everyone's. Just wear them around.
Unanimous dad.
Yes.
But constructivism is something that I've been dealing with a lot in work, actually, and I always knew that Dad was good at it. I didn't realize that, I could be good at that. It's really, really powerful. Today was the best day of work I've had because I went in knowing that I wanted to make a connection with people. And it's powerful. And some things that I am very grateful for. I think we're kind of talking about like from our father is essentially what I'm getting at, is also the definition of empathy and sympathy, because y'all, it's kind of fucking embarrassing when someone knows the difference and they hear someone not use the right context. If you're telling me that your dad died and you feel empathetic for me, but you got your dad, kind of embarrassing because you don't know. So, on another note, we will learn about that on a different time because it is important and it is, used very often. Something else that I'm grateful for is just the sheer amount of things and life lessons that I was taught at such a young age. It's not common that a 7-year-old can tell you what they like about themselves, like in depth. It's not common that they even know those things. And those weren't just because, he was telling me, like, what do you like about yourself and asking me, but because he was reassuring me in those positive qualities of myself. He was our biggest cheerleader throughout our whole lives. And I miss that so much. I miss giving him a call and getting, just like even getting choked up in the conversation with him. Because he'd start crying and then you'd start crying. It's like, whoa, how many people have this conversation, like have this relationship with their dads? Especially their dads that have been through the things that he went through. Mm-hmm. I mean, truly unbelievable. And I would say the main thing is I'm very, very grateful for all the lessons and the knowing myself as much as I do, 100% because of him. 100%. Our mom has taught us a lot of things too, but he specifically worked with us to become who we are, and we're two halves of a whole with him. It's truly incredible having each other, and I'm very grateful. I'm very sad that I don't get to tell him what I'm grateful for this year, but I'm eternally grateful.
What was I gonna do? Would you be up for all you can do is all you can do and all you can do is enough?
Doing it now? You reading it?
Yeah, just throwing it in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so when it isn't enough, you want me to read it or do you want to?
I don't have it up, so go ahead.
All right. When it isn't enough and constructivism. One of life's biggest regrets people face in their last moments is that they didn't do enough in their life journey. They weren't a good enough spouse, mother, friend, child, grandparent, sibling, employee, etc. There are so many categories in which to fall short in so many different ways. Welcome to the human race. Even for those who claim their lives were lived to perfection, I should say, especially those who claim their lives were lived perfectly, we have all been around people who have the mentality that they have to be perfect. Where does this implausible idea come from? Usually it comes from a substantial figure in one's life that leads them to believe this with bullying and belittling. Someone I am very close to has dealt with belittling from their father saying words like, "You will never amount to anything and you are a loser." When these words are said to someone in their developmental years, it changes them in one of two extreme ways. It either changes them into being successful people that prove the bully wrong, or they become the other extreme. The other extreme, which can manifest underachievement. My father, for example, was the classic underachiever. This is my dad speaking, not me. He's talking about Grandpa. He underperformed his whole life and eventually took his own life at the age of 63. Sad and tragic, not only himself, but for those he selfishly left behind. For the vast majority of us mortals, there is nothing that I have come to embrace more than all you can do is all you can do, and all you can do is enough.
Yeah, I also hear Dad in that one, of course.
I know.
I think
Can't.
in his mind, he also struggled with this because when he was eventually passing away, even though he was happy, there were things that he wanted to leave us that I had talked to him many times about, where he knew, like, I guess he would be disappointed only on the revenue sense, only with the money. I think he was very happy and very comfortable when he passed with what he had left us emotionally, spiritually, and vulnerably wise. So I am very frustrated that anybody would talk to anybody, especially in their developmental years, saying things like, you are a loser and you are not enough. But I know that the person he was talking about specifically, because I edited that part and I edited them out, was someone that's incredibly successful. So
he was very proud of that person, and he wanted to illustrate the two different extremes. Either you can take it with a grain of salt and make it work in your favor, or you can just give up. And he was basically saying, never give up. And his example of what happens when you don't give up is pretty astonishing. And like I said, he was very proud of that person.
I lost you.
You lost me. Where are you? Are we not
I don't
talking
know.
about pride for that person?
Oh, here you are. Okay.
Where the
Sorry.
hell you meant like the picture?
No,
Yeah,
the
what do you
picture,
care
yeah.
about?
I lost the picture.
Nobody cares about my picture.
I'm just saying I lost it.
You're like, oh, I can see you when you
I'm
talk.
45. Sorry, 45-year-olds. I'm 95.
Yeah, don't say 45-year-olds. They're too young.
No, I don't have about 45-year-olds. You guys are like just reborn. Swear to
You
God.
guys, why are you looking at me?
You guys. I mean, you are 27, almost 28. Yeesh.
I know, I'm getting so old.
At least you got kids and a husband. I got a rat dog.
Your dog
Very
is
proud
beautiful.
mother of a rat dog.
She's a beautiful dog. Don't hate it.
She's amazing. I'm grateful for her. Bam.
There you go. Gratitude. The list keeps growing.
Gratitude. There's so much to be grateful for, really. I think about that every day on my walks, looking at the sunrise. Yeah, it's kind of our time, you know? I give myself time to be with him in the morning and mourn that I don't get to be on the phone with him.
Yeah.
Or with him in person. And it's really nice because there's always the new beautiful sunset that we get to share.
Sunrise?
Sunrise. New beautiful sunrise.
Yeah. And I do just want to jump back to what you said about revenue or monetary value of someone's life. We're not saying, how do I put this the right way? Money doesn't matter. Whoa! The crazy concept.
That is
My
a crazy
dad,
concept. Oof.
Our dad, whatever he had in his bank account, whatever he had in his investments, we genuinely do not care and are not seeking it out because he taught us how to build a life for ourselves, not
Also,
to just moosh
the
off of him.
only thing that I want that my dad had
Go ahead.
in a physical form is the
Globe.
scrapbook that I made. What I want from him is what I gave him because he loved it. And that means I get to love it.
Well, I got the
yes,
plot.
truly, if you raise your kids right and you teach them like what really matters in life, money's not going to matter to them in the end. I didn't think about money. I still haven't thought about money from this man. I have thought about my experiences with him. I have thought about my absolute f***ing the shit out of him. I have thought many, many things, an array of different feelings, but none of them have been as selfish as thinking about money. People ask me, was there a will? And I'm like genuinely a very normally, averagely selfish person. So I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm saying that in this case, you don't think about that. You don't think about that at all.
If you're thinking about that, you're doing it wrong, and they clearly did not mean as much to you as you might like to tell yourself.
I would like to second that, and you are selfish if you loved this person and you are thinking about their income.
Yes.
What they left behind for you.
We will say he did have a business with the same name as the nonprofit, Shared Abundance, which is why we have Steve Arthur Carr Foundation. It's where the idea comes from. In his company, he always wanted to make sure everyone won. It was kind of like a, how would you describe that kind of company? I know there's a word for
Network marketing.
Network marketing company. So everyone wins, right? You exchange numbers, you buy something, the other person gets money off of it, they buy something, you get money off of it, that kind of deal. So that's the idea of Shared Abundance. We're pretty much taking the heart of that and creating our nonprofit. So instead of money, again, it's knowledge, because that's what we really value. We don't. This is gonna have a lot of beeps in it.
Don't give a money.
You don't give a beep 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 about money.
You're not getting my beeps.
You're getting your beeps.
Don't beep.
My beep.
It's gonna be like, don't beat me, beep.
Pretty much.
Hilarious.
So we're taking the idea. His business, he had business partners. He considered them family. They were all very close. We're leaving that with them. That's what we're saying. We don't about what was in there. That's,
yeah.
He wants that to live on. They live on. That's great. We support them emotionally, mentally, any other kind of way other than financially.
Yeah, for
sure. Because we're taking the idea of it and we're creating something else. His money is for his business family. His whole being essentially is for us, and we are making the most of it because he's amazing.
Yeah, definitely worth whatever money.
Definitely worth a lot. Well, I don't care what's in there.
No.
And I'm glad. We all feel that way. None of his children have asked about it, and I love that.
None of us will. That's the thing, is there's enough of us that know what's important in life. I mean, there's all of us, to be honest, and the only thing we'll be fighting over are his ashes. Now that's a video to see.
We're scattering them. We're like fighting covered in ash.
We're fighting who gets to spread them where. We're fighting whose hands are the biggest and gets the biggest handfuls of them.
I got a
because I win. I don't like how you can tell from right now.
I know. I was like,
They're big ass hands. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel.
Dude, do my teeth look as white as they look in this?
Oh, they look really white. I hate you. They're like glowing.
It's the lighting from the television.
I wish. I look dark from like my forehead down.
I can't really see because there's something blocking your forehead.
Oh.
No, you gotta get way lower. So there's something blocking your forehead, so why would you go up? Go down.
Because I don't want you to see my forehead. My forehead's ugly.
It's a fine forehead.
It looks like I don't have bangs. I need bangs. Cover my forehead.
Look at this balding spot.
You can't even see
Oh.
Ah! You ain't got Oh, wait.
It's that. It's that one.
I'm fucking with you.
No, it's that one. This side's got it too. This side might be more. Oh yeah.
That receding hairline.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, are we gonna conclude this in some way? That's like...
Oh, I don't know. We'll just to be continued.
To conclude, I would like to say that we are very grateful for all that has been given to us. And we hope that you are also grateful, so comment on what you're grateful on.
That was really well done. Mine.
Go beep, I'm good. All right. Anything else
Pretty
you want
much.
to say?
No, we're gonna add our eulogies after this. So if you want to stick around to hear those, please do. They're very short, I promise.
Mine's 6 minutes.
Well, mine's really short, so I'll put mine first.
My father was wonderfully imperfect. He was great with words, loved to show his children the finer things in life when he could, to teach us his mistakes so that we don't repeat them. A lot of parents don't know how to do that. A lot of parents feel they need to uphold this perfect image in their children's minds, but they're wrong. That image of imperfection, eventually it breaks. It shatters, and when you set yourself up to be some sort of God in your child's eyes, you're setting yourself up for failure. Though my father would say that's all right. In fact, he'd celebrate that failure with you. He was pretty big on celebrating failures because he never really saw them as failures. He saw them as opportunities. And if you happen to be at the breaking point, at the point you just couldn't hold it together anymore, he'd tell you, let go. Let go, fall apart, and when you put the pieces back together, you'll be stronger than ever. Above all else, my father taught me gratitude. He gave me plenty, far more than I ever needed. But instead of raising a spoiled brat, he raised a grateful adult. People say that I say thank you too much. Well, that's from my father. He taught me to never take anything for granted and to be aware that whatever you have can be lost at any moment. You can't defeat a grateful person, he used to say. I am grateful, but I'm also heartbroken. I can't imagine how I've come this far without him. It's been a month since I lost him, but the truth is I lost him a week before that. The entire time he was in a coma, I already knew he was gone. And yet each day I continued on, and still now I pull through each day, each night, and 1 month later I am, to some extent, undoubtedly broken. But I'm not defeated. With all he's given me, all I'm thankful for, I can never be defeated. There will always be another story to tell, another song to sing, another place to travel, another wave of his presence to keep me going, because above all else, even more so than my heartache and my sorrow at his passing, I am grateful. And I will remain grateful and undefeated until the day I die. My father was wonderfully imperfect. And I'm grateful for every second I had with him. The good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful.
So, I know that I'm in my car for an obituary speech, but I think that it is important for me to express my feelings that I have right now. So, my father, Steve Carr, was an awesome, awesome person. There are so many memories that I have of him that would just put other fathers to shame. And I don't mean that like they weren't good fathers, but he was something very special. Something amazing about him was that when we were young, we weren't, having these conversations that you would expect young children to be having. Like, what's your favorite Barbie doll? What's your favorite color? Surface shit. It was always, let's get deep into it. And from that, I have learned so much about people, because I don't do the surface stuff either. I go deep with people in my job daily, and it makes people feel comfortable with me. Maybe some people aren't comfortable with me. Doubtful, because you can usually read the signs if people are comfortable or not. But back to my father, I want to talk a little bit about his most prized possessions, and that was his children. He loved his, I'm going to call her his wife, because that's what she was, his wife, Janice, very much. His children that he raised, he's got 5 of us. The oldest, she's exactly like him in almost every way. His only son is also very, very similar to him in most ways. Looks unbelievably so. They look like the exact same person. My sister Jessica, who is not biologically his, but was taken in by him when she was 1. That's her dad as well. We will not go past that. They are alike in a lot of ways too, that people really respect from both of them. My sister Juliet, the one right above me, she's a lot like my dad in their pride and their absolute kick-ass ability for, quite honestly, everything. And then there's me, where very large percentage of things that I love about myself come from my dad. And I think of all of us together, and it makes one perfect him, not only our good traits, but our bad traits too. It's just, they all circulate around this man and all of the good that he has done for the world, and all the people that he's touched, all the conversations that he's had that were deep, and then had those people that he had the conversations with going and having more deep conversations with other people and getting into the who you are. I knew who I was when I was 6 years old because I was asked. What 6-year-old knows who they are and what they're about and what they represent? And he didn't push his opinions on people either. Sometimes he used to, maybe a little bit, but as he got older, the Steve Carr on the day that he left this earth, no way. He listened really well. I miss him very much. We all miss him. Something else about him that I think is incredibly admirable is he didn't talk about himself in neither modest nor unmodest ways. It was always just matter-of-factly with him, but the way that he talked about everybody else was beautiful and incredibly charming, and in no way would I ever in another lifetime or this one have the words and the heart that he did to describe people as. It's truly incredible being so thoughtful of exactly who you're talking about and knowing the true essence of them is absolutely beautiful. Doesn't surprise me that all the ladies loved him. Doesn't surprise me that we all loved him and want to honor him in any way that we can. He'd be very proud. He'd be dad of the year, I'll tell you that. Dad of the decades. For sure last decade. He's been number one. Absolutely. Anything I ever wanted to talk to him about. Didn't matter. He wanted to have open communication, and I love him so much for that. I try to find ways in myself that are like him, and I try to find ways in myself that sometimes aren't like him. I've never been one for traveling too much, but with my dad it was fun. It was worth the 12-hour travel sesh to get somewhere for 4 days and then 12 hours back home. It was worth it because I was with him. I was having conversations with him that no child has with their parents. What child talks to their parents about what is the thing that you love about yourself the most? I've never met another another parent to ask that. It was just like he knew that he did not have that much time. Excuse me. And he wanted to make the most out of it. And he fucking did. He did it. He absolutely did it. So, if you are curious about Steve Carr, please feel free to ask me. Ask my sister. Ask my brother. Ask my other 2 sisters. We all love to talk about him. We all love being involved in his life. And even after he's gone, we're all very involved in each other's lives. We're lucky to have each other. I'm very lucky that I see the pieces of him in my siblings. So, thank you for listening to my shaky voice, and I hope this gives a little bit more insight into who Steve Carr is. Thank you.